So we think Adam can die a happy man, right?
I think so. It looks like it.
Yeah, I feel like what Adam experienced this weekend was the equivalent of an old dog getting fed like a cheeseburger before getting put down. Like, have you seen those videos of like? Or no, you haven't because you don't do
I don't do
recreational
recreational
sadness.
sadness.
For
No.
all you whiteys who love recreational sadness, um, so you guys have seen the videos of like, um, old pet owners who they're about ready to say their final goodbyes to their pet, and their treat is, I'm gonna go get you a McDouble from McDonald's, and we're just gonna do everything you want to do. Today, I think, was the equivalent of Adam getting a cheeseburger. Not saying he is about to die or cross the rainbow bridge, but I think he's peaked.
There's always Grease Fest 2.
But how will it be topped, right? Like, because you have to think, there's a lot of people that were left off. There was no Iconics. There's no Stacy Keebler.
So there already it can get better.
Just right. Bam, bam, bam. But if you talk about like cost differentials, you talk about I guess the limit does not exist, right?
I don't think so. Money seems to not be an issue. I do want to know if he took the Jeep or the Camaro up for Grease Fest. I feel like it's such a special occasion that that's something that you would want to put miles on the Camaro for.
Oh, for sure. Not. For sure. Especially since that Jeep is a rolling death trap at this point. That thing is just gonna, if you've ever seen Friday the 13th, or Nightmare on Elm Street, he's just gonna be, Johnny Depp laying in the bed, and then all of a sudden the bed's gonna swallow him up, and then geyser blood into the sky. That's gonna be the Jeep. The Jeep is just gonna be rolling, and then all of a sudden the Jeep is gonna get sucked into the ground, and then just oil and transmission fluid is just gonna shoot out of the comedic amounts of fluid is gonna just shoot into the sky. And then Adam's gonna walk in like Johnny Depp's mom in the movie and just go, huh?
Did you get another haircut?
No, this is just me doing a whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I have not gone. Well, first of all, I haven't had. First of all, welcome to Final Wrestling Place. I'm Tim.
I'm still Marcus,
and I'm still waiting for Tatum to supply me that list of notable hair people in my area that she threatened me with on We Need Wrestling.
Threatened or provided?
Well, it's a threat because she ain't provided me nothing yet. I know she's been on assignment. She's been out, a lady about town, sending her son off to prom. But I say all that to say this, Marcus, what is the equivalent? What could be the equivalent of what Adam experienced this weekend for Grease Fest? What would be a Marcus's Grease Fest in this day, in the year of our Lord 2024? I'm not saying it doesn't have to be Grease. It's not Grease.
Yeah, no.
Right. So what is your equivalent?
It's sitting down and watching baseball and being able to enjoy probably like unlimited snacks. Not that I'm going to eat unlimited snacks. I just want them available to me.
Okay. Like what? But like, what is the buffet line of snacks? Are you just
couple dogs, doubters,
hot dogs?
Gotta have a couple dogs. Refillable soda.
Okay.
I'll get one soda, and then I'll get like whatever the non-soda option is. You know, like a lemonade or something like that.
Okay.
And then probably like if there's like a chicken fingers and fries option, probably that. And then gotta have some little sweet, you know, whether it's some Twizzlers, some cotton candy, you know, whatever the ballpark is selling. That's going to satisfy my sweet tooth. And that's really it for me, man.
So literally, you just need to go to you want to go to a baseball game, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's Grease Fest for you.
For
like
my
you
soul.
do realize that like the point of Grease Fest is like it's like a once in a lifetime experience. It's not.
I don't think this is going to be once in a lifetime.
For Adam so far, with the bevy of what he partook in, I mean, he got height of powers, a lot of stuff. Okay. But literally what you experienced is something you're going to go do in literally like 2 months.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I want it now. What's Grease Fest for you though?
Wow. Okay. Now you've got me, by the horns, the icicles, so to speak. Ow.
How sharp are they?
That's right.
Sounds of freedom.
That's right. Just Undertaker rolling through, on his chopper.
More on that later.
just no, that's just a little teaser. That's just a little teaser. Don't even worry about it. That's just
don't threaten me with a good time.
I just gotta put a gong sounder in here, so anytime I threaten the Undertaker, I can just gong it. Grease Fest for me. Probably it would be going to Wrestling Universe in New York.
Okay.
Like doing a trip to Wrestling Universe, doing that, and then like while in New York, getting a fresh New York slice from Sbarro.
I can't let you go to Sbarro.
Why not?
You can't get commercialized food in New York.
I know.
That's just not allowed.
I know. It's for all the Office.
For White Castle.
It's for all the Office fans. I have never had White Castle. And that's on my bucket list, is to walk into a White Castle and walk out with a briefcase full of White Castle. So yeah, go to Wrestling Universe, get a fresh New York slice. And then like get teleported home because I don't want traffic at all. I want to somehow be in New York without traffic and tolls, do my thing and get out and not have to worry about like traffic or tolls or like mass transit. Impossible. I know. It's very crazy.
You need a helicopter.
I do. What is the update on the soon to be named network private helicopter?
Adam trades in one of those cars, we might be able to afford it a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're saving all that Hayabusa money. Why don't we have helicopter money? I'm just saying things. I'm just a man asking questions. That's all. That's all that I am. I'm just a fact finder. So we have a lot of things to discuss. No field tripping this week, but we do have a preemptive field trip we're going to let you guys go on for next week. We'll tell you about it at the end of the show. But we've got an undertaking to take part in. We're going to talk about we will bring up a topic discussed on We Need Wrestling as a follow-up. We're going to talk about what rocked this week and a whole bunch of other stuff. But we're going to start with something, Marcus, that you have threatened me with a good time, and therefore I must partake. You're doing one of those internet things with me.
I am. So this is me trying to be hip and cool. Tim, I'm going to hit you with a blind ranking.
Okay, so historically, I'm bad at these.
Yeah. All right, great. I'm going to give you a list of 5.
Uh-huh.
and everybody knows how the gimmick works. I'm going to hit you with 5 kings of the ring,
Okay.
and you have to blind rank Jones them.
Okay. That should be fair enough and easy.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me finish my last one here.
King number 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. First one up.
Yep.
Owen Hart.
Okay, a lot of people love Owen as king. I feel like you're sending him out first to bait me into being first. But I think I'm going to respectfully, because let me think. Who else was a really good king that I could logistically put above Owen? Because that's the real question, right? Is like, is there a better king? Now, is this, I don't know if you're allowed to tell me. Does this also include pre-King of the Ring tournament kings?
No. This
So
is all from 1993 and beyond.
Okay, so then this opens up a lot. There's probably only one king that I think that I would put ahead of Owen, but I'm going to play it safe because I don't think I'd feel horribly bad if I had these guys swapped. I'm going to put Owen at 1.
Okay.
He embraced his kingship. He took on the moniker. He didn't let it go. I mean, people still call him the King of Hearts. So.
All right. So you got Owen at number 1.
Owen, yes.
Okay. Second one out of the gate. Sheamus.
Oh, that guy was bad king. Bad king, bad. But I don't think he's the worst king you're going to give me. The crown was sick. Like, the look was sick. Mm-hmm. It's just the look lasted 3 weeks. And then, like, King Sheamus went away.
I feel like it lasted up until, like, the Royal Rumble or something, but who knows?
There's no way it lasted that long.
I feel like it lasted a long time.
I feel like he didn't last at all.
All right.
I'm going 4.
Okay.
For Sheamus.
Next up, Ken Shamrock.
That's a 5er. My man won the tournament, and that's it.
Next up,
great wrestler, bad king.
Booker T.
2. That's who I thought you were going to put on this list with Owen, and he's the guy who I would have put over Owen, but I didn't want to be a dumb and like leave one open, and Booker never hit this list, and then I have to find a way to justify Ken Shamrock, or whoever you have it, whoever's last on your list. I have to justify him going above Owen Hart? No. King Booker 2.
And last but not least, because literally 5's not available, Edge.
That's a 3. That's a solid 3, I think. The King of the Ring meant something. I remember his coronation pretty well. He promised to not Billy Gunn this one. So yeah, and he had a really sick trophy.
How'd you feel about the
King of the Ring trophy?
Yeah.
It felt weird, but also kind of felt right because he's Canadian and Canadians love big trophies.
Yeah, it was Stanley Cup-esque.
It was Cuppian.
So I thought it worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's I think that's a solid. I think I'll get you with a blind ranked dog next week.
Okay.
I'll pull one up and see what's on the docket in the horn or on the docket in the, I don't know what I'm saying. But man, this weekend I got to experience something super fun.
What did you get to experience?
I got to experience my first minor league baseball game in a long time.
This will be your first one back
post-COVID.
Post-vid, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think the last ball game I went to that I actually watched, because I didn't even really watch the ones where the Wrestle Dudes were doing the game or the match after the Reading Phils.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever stayed and sat and watched any of the Reading Phils games. But yes, this is probably my first minor league baseball experience in a long time. And it was high A ball.
Okay.
Which I was struggling to remember the hierarchy of minor league baseball. Because there's triple A, there's double A, and then I knew there was single A.
Mm-hmm.
But I also knew there was like another A. And apparently that other A is high A, which is in between double A and single A. So I got to watch the farm league team for the Washington Nationals, the Wilmington Blue Rocks, as they took on the farm system for the Baltimore Orioles, the Aberdeen Iron Pigs.
All right.
Or Ironbirds? Ironbirds.
Ironbirds. Iron Pig seems to.
You were about to fight. What are you about to fight?
There's a bug flying in here. I'm going to kill it.
Do you need a second?
I'm going to kill it. You freestyle. I'm going to go commit a murder.
Okay, Marcus is out here hunting. He's about to, I don't know what he's about to do. But yeah, so I went to my first minor league baseball game in a long, long time. The consortium won free ducats from her work. Oh, we've got a kill. That was fast. That looked like a little ladybug. Oh, was
quick and effective.
Was that a little ladybug?
It was.
How dare you?
Look, don't come inside.
The first
Stay
lady,
outside.
The first
We got
lady
no
of
problems.
bugs, and you decide to kill her. How dare you? Brought to a compromising end. But yeah, so Consortium got tickets to her job, and it was super fun. The stadium's really small. It's really intimate. It was also taking place the same day as like a prom, and the parking lot for the ball field was also shared by the big hotel next to it.
Oh,
that was so parking was like a shared experience. So I'm walking into the ball game, and all these like juniors and seniors are dressed up in like ball gowns, and I'm like, this is weird. But the reason I bring it up is because there was a couple of takeaways. First of all, how about in the year of our Lord 2024, I got to hear Lift Every Voice and Sing sung before the national anthem at a high A ball game in the state of Delaware. What a great national anthem. I want to petition that the Black National Anthem just becomes the national anthem.
I would just as soon rather have no national anthem.
No, you have to have a national anthem.
I don't like it, no.
What are you gonna play? What are you gonna play when the United States takes all the gold medals in Paris in like a couple months? Are we just gonna play Lil Jon Get Low?
I was gonna say Tipsy by Jaquan.
No, you have to have a national anthem.
I don't know.
I know for one thing, not the Star Spangled Banner.
No way.
No, that's Star.
No way, no how. Yeah, that's
Star Spangled Banner is way too hard of a song. It's too complicated. You can't remember the words.
Does some racisms in different verses.
We don't recognize the other verses. We just know the first one, and that's it.
Oh.
There's a
Right, so you went to
racism
the
in other
ballpark?
verses.
There are. Do a journalism.
I have to do some Google in here.
It's not like N-bomb or anything like that, so it's not like but yeah, there's some there's a couple words you gotta like, oh well, what's this mean? And then you follow a rabbit trail, and you're like, oh, they're talking about like slaves.
I'm looking. Oh, here we go. Yeah. No refugee could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Luckily, we don't sing that verse. We sing another verse, the fun one with rockets and fireworks and bombs bursting. But yeah, man, lift every voice and sing. Definitely a superior song. If you had to pick a national anthem, though, is it Jaquan Tipsy?
Sure. I don't like the idea of like we have to prolong. Like whenever the national anthem is being played, it's like I can't wait for this to be over so I can get to like what I came here for.
But I think
so why don't we just skip that?
But I think, well, first of all, I think the national anthem gets played at way too many things that it shouldn't be played at.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Namely, this is going to be a hot topic item. Stop doing the national anthem at the beginning of independent wrestling shows. Stop it.
I
hate it.
Yeah, I've only been on a couple shows where it's happened. It's
at the show I just did commentary for last month.
Yeah.
National anthem.
Sounds of Freedom.
Raum.
I don't know, man. Just get to the value.
I think what it is. I think what it is because our national anthem is cheeks. If it was a song that you enjoyed or you could enjoy, like "Oh Canada." Oh Canada, sweet national anthem. If I were a Canadian, I would love to hear Oh Canada begin. You want to know why? It's a 90-second song. I get in, I get out. It's fun. You know another national anthem that's fun? Maybe not the best place to be, but Russia. I'd love to hear the Soviet national anthem. Only if Nikolai's doing it.
You ever think about how many national anthems we know just because of wrestling, like compared to a normal person?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The only national anthems I think I know because of wrestling is "Oh Canada" and the Russian national anthem.
Don't the British people have the British Bulldogs theme?
Oh, yeah, Rule Britannia. Or no, they do God Save the Queen.
Oh, okay.
Which is not Rule Britannia. But we know God Save the Queen because God Save the Queen is My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Oh, okay. So we just boosted that.
Yeah. We changed the lyrics of God Save the Queen. I think that's right. DeWiki is screaming at his podcatcher of choice. But I think that's right. I think we boosted God Save the Queen for My Country 'Tis of Thee. Or no,
all right, so you're at the baseball game. My Country 'Tis
of Thee is like a drinking song. I don't know what it is.
You're at the game. America, baseball. You're at the game. Free tickets.
I'm at the game. Free tickets. And by golly, they have... I don't know what it is about single A ball or high A ball. There are 2 mascots for this team. I don't know how this team has 2 mascots, but they do. One is this moose named Rocky. He is not interesting. But this other guy, they have a mascot named Mr. Celery. It's a dude who is dressed up like a big celery stalk. And he runs on the field after every run.
All right. This is where I'm going to get political. We're not a political podcast. Quote, ed quote. Get your pro-healthy choices, your pro-vegetable propaganda out of my baseball. There's way too many teams that do this. Oh, we're going to have the carrot stick and Mr. Celery and Broccoli Head all running the bases. And who's going to be first? And they're going to trip up Mr. Candy. No. There's no place for this. It's inappropriate.
First of all, Mr. Celery is made of nothing but water. Nobody is trying to tell people eat more celery, okay? But second of all, he wasn't messing with anything nasty. He was just celebrating with the fans because guys hit a home run, or guys got runs. So Here's my follow-up question. If WWE and AEW had to go the way of WCW and Wildcat Willie, what would be fun mascots for the WWE and AEW? See, this is where we're going. This is what happens when we don't have a field trip. You leave me to my own devices, and then I have to find a way to make 6 minutes of baseball talk something relevant for wrestling. Here we are.
So the Jags should just use the little Jaguar from
Duval or whatever his name is. What's his name?
Whatever. I don't know.
Johnny Jaguar.
That's what I would just use, right? You already have it. I would do that. As far as WWE,
Jackson DeVille is the name of the stupid mascot. Yes.
Is it Jackson with an X?
It is with an X.
That's so Florida.
It's so Florida. It's so white people. It's amazing.
Oh man.
I don't think it should be Jackson DeVille. What if it's Jackson DeVille's? What if it's Jackson DeVille's like cousin, Danny Dynamite, and it's just a dynamite stick?
No.
Shut up.
You
want to use an already existing IP? I'm trying to come up with something original, and what you could say is no.
I'm trying to utilize what already exists. For WWE, I really thought they were onto something because I thought the little the football guy, the whatever they call him,
the augmented reality Fox NFL football guy.
No, I'm talking about the mechanical guy, the robot, and he's always like up to some hijinks in between commercial breaks.
Okay,
he's always like catching the ball. He's running a touchdown as we go to commercial break. I forget his name. I thought it was going to be that, but then the Fox deal is dead. So, okay, we can't really use that. I mean, Raw's going to be on Netflix. I don't know. Man. Maybe they should just have like they have a Prime dude. That's their mascot.
That's the Prime's mascot.
But it's also the mascot of WWE. So whether it's Speed or somebody else who I don't know.
KSI,
yeah. I think it needs to just be the Prime bottle. I think the Prime bottle is the mascot of WWE.
Sure.
Get the people going. And then you're always like, oh, well, like, who's going to get beat up in the Prime bottle? And like it's a face reveal that only like half the audience knows because
kids
one half
under 13.
Young. Everybody else is like,
oh no, it's Speed. But I also realized something. During the ball game, they played the Friends theme song. And I realized that the Friends theme is probably like a top 5 white people anthem.
Without question.
Yes.
Without question. It's like a call. It's a gathering. Yeah. Like if you want to summon all the white people, you just start playing.
That's exactly what it is. You can stop the song after the first set of claps. Just kind of like Sweet Caroline. You can stop it after the first Did
they play Sweet Caroline too?
They did not, but you know what song they did play? Kingdom. They played the Cody Rhodes theme
Speaking of summoning white people,
heading into extra innings. Nobody woed. It was very sad. They also played Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme during a game of musical chairs.
That's awesome.
But they didn't use chairs. They used what they called beach balls, which were just really big exercise balls.
I mean, it's high A ball. What do you want?
I want them to know the difference between a beach ball and an exercise ball.
You gotta, that's single A for that.
High A ball is better than single A ball. High A is above single A.
Oh, okay. I thought it went high A, then single A, then...
That's what I thought, but high A is in between double A and single A.
Gotcha, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Well, so yeah, Mr. Celery. I had everybody confused because I was just screaming, "He's my dad!" every time he ran out on the field. There's going to be so many kids who go to school. It's like, what did you do this weekend? I heard this really weird guy just scream, "He's my dad" at Mr. Celery at the ball game. And that's what I want. That's all I want. Just want to make a memory for somebody in the dumbest way possible.
Who won?
Oh, the Blue Rocks did, because I didn't realize that they changed the extra innings rule until I'm paying attention and there's a man on second at the start of the inning.
You forgot about the Manfred runner.
I forgot about the Manfred. Yeah, Manfred. But pitch clock was fun. You know, pitch clock was good.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really speed the game up at all because the game had a 6 o'clock start time, and we were out of there by 9:30.
Wonderful.
That's still 3 hours of baseball.
And it's extra innings. So, all right, cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Would you go back?
I want to go back like tomorrow. I want to get a boot. I want to get a, I feel like single A baseball is the right level of baseball that like somebody with a middle class income could just become a local celebrity by renting out one of those, like luxury boxes every homestand and just be like the dude in the box. But you gotta you gotta sell it, dude. Like,
I feel like a king whenever you're at like a minor league baseball game and you can swing for the like the buffet.
Yeah.
Like the all you can eat wrist gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, eating like a king. They give you a little seat. You get your wristband, unlimited food. It's like, yeah, eating like kings for an extra $13.
That's what I want to do at the Blue Rocks, because I want to get the suite because you get 20 people.
Okay.
So I just pack that thing out, and it's free food and non-alcoholic beverages, and you get to just like chill and watch baseball. Like, dog, that was sick.
Well, good.
It was the best. Can't complain about it.
What else you want to talk about?
Let's talk about We Need Wrestling. So there
was
our
good pals. Shout out Brett and DJ.
That's right. They hate me. DJ hates me, but I love him.
Closer to 50 than 20 is the episode title.
Yes.
And it almost shook me. I am closer to 20 than I am 50 for a couple more months.
Okay, hold on. Oh no, I'm past it.
You sailed past it. You're long gone.
Oh, I need to open this.
Long gone.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I feel like hold on a second. I feel like I've got something for being closer to 50. Yeah, that's just the Undertaker coming for me. But they talked about DJ just being not an edge guy. And DJ's made this point multiple times, but for whatever reason, it stuck with us this week. That like Ed, according to DJ, Edge is just like a perennial tag team wrestler.
Mhm.
The height of his powers is Intercontinental Champion, and that's it.
Yeah.
And never really saw him come to fruition, which led to Brett bringing up what I really wanted to bring on, which was the SmackDown 6.
Oh baby.
Oh baby. The only time, okay, let me be clear. Okay. This is the only time in recorded history that Chavo Guerrero Jr. is worth discussing.
Have you seen Heyman's quotes about it? I think it's Heyman. Somebody, I'm pretty sure it's Heyman, and they tried saying like, well, technically the SmackDown 6 were never like publicly labeled. It was the online community who
Yeah.
named the SmackDown 6.
The IWC
and that
named
to
it.
him, the 6th is Brock.
No. You can't do 3 tag teams of people, but then be like, no, one of the tag teams is not a 6. And no, I do not, no.
I don't know. I mean, you just subbing Chavo out for Brock. I think it works.
Can we just give Chavo like one thing? Like, this is it. It's either
Maybe.
this or he gets Iron Claw. You get to pick.
All right. So SmackDown 6, for those who were not watching at the time, or maybe you're a newer fan, WWE SmackDown from, they had a brand split in 2002 in March. And then once the rosters were divided, Raw was always the favorite show and supposed to be the better show. And SmackDown was airing on UPN and was always supposed to be like the complimentary show. But once they split the rosters and it actually got a little competitive in-house, SmackDown started blowing the doors off of Raw. Started lapping Raw in ratings, in in-ring product, in storylines, commentary, you name it. SmackDown was running circles around Raw, which was the favorite show of WWE. And behind SmackDown, a big influential voice was Paul Heyman, who had a lot of influence with writing and booking and stuff like that on SmackDown. So he was able to procure these 6 talents, 6, 8, but mostly these 6 guys. And these were his 6 guys he felt if he held on to, he could build the show in his image that would continue to blow the doors off Raw and eventually become the new flagship show of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't wrong. So in that group is Chavo Guerrero.
Yep.
For the time, a versatile utility guy. You can put him in tag teams. You can put him in 6-man tags. You can throw him out there for a singles match. The match is going to be good at the time.
And it really helped him because he was partnered with his uncle Eddie, and Los Guerreros was a fantastic tag team.
Absolutely.
Like,
instant classic of a tag team.
And like the gimmick worked. The lying, cheating, and stealing, like they took from Eddie and they passed it over to Chavo. Like, those Los Guerreros promos were amazing. Like, we quote the golf one all the time.
The promos are so good that they turned face during the vignettes before they even had a chance to like re-debut under the new package. They were supposed to be heels, and then after the first or second vignette, it's like, oh, these guys are baby faces.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how well they were being received. Sounds of freedom. So of course you have Eddie Guerrero, all-time great, speaks for himself. You have Chris Benoit, double chocolate bunny eater, but for the time,
top
hands
5
down,
in the world.
Top 5 in the world.
Like, he can do anything you wanted him to do in the ring. Like, he could go out there and like get grimy. He could be technical. He was amazing.
Yeah.
We all know what happened with Benoit, but
but for the time, top 5 in the world. You pair him with Kurt Angle. They're doing like a frenemies tag team.
Yes.
So
top 5 in the world.
They're competitive, and this is also rehabbing Kurt Angle because Angle had just got done being made to look like a joke because he gotten too good in 2000 and 2001. So they turned his water off a little bit. And this really reheats Kurt Angle to become the
Right.
ultimate that we know. And then the last two, you have Rey Mysterio to this day,
Top 5.
still an all-time great, And then the last person there is Edge. And
Yes.
Edge is the one that Paul Heyman has gone on record to kind of expound upon the most, and why he thought Edge was kind of the most important out of the 6, because to him, he viewed Edge as his Sting. Somebody who you could take and have him in the mid-card scene. You can move him up to the upper mid-card scene. You can put him in a powerhouse tag team. And ultimately, after all that, the only next place to go is up. And you move him into the main event scene. And for me, Edge was 100% on that trajectory as a babyface with the SmackDown 6 during that time. And then unfortunately, he gets the neck injury in February 2003. And then he's really out until spring 2004. So he misses a lot of time. And not to mention, in that time that he's out, there's a lot of roster turnover. So when he comes back to the company, it's not exactly the same as when he left. And he's showing up on Raw as opposed to SmackDown.
Like, here's one thing you got to think about with Edge, okay? I think one of Edge's last televised matches before the injury, it was a UK pay-per-view. And the main event of the UK pay-per-view was a handicap match between Brock and Paul Heyman versus Edge. That was the main event of the UK show. Edge leaves, and by the time he comes back, Brock Lesnar is out of the company.
True, yeah.
Like, he's gone. Like, very hard
Brock is gone.
Yeah,
Goldberg has come in and out.
Goldberg's in and out. Austin is officially like done. Like he's doing his commissioner role.
John Cena went from a happy to be on the roster guy to
the
snaps.
Guy.
He's going to be world champion in a year.
Yeah.
And
like,
then
he was
the guy
borderline he was borderline fired when Edge was there. And then by the time he comes back, Cena is rocket strapped with the spinner US title. Like going to the moon. I think that might, when Edge comes back, he might be like in that in-between time where he's like feuding with Chavo or feuding with Carlito and Jesus.
So that is
in like May 04.
That's around November-ish. So yeah, Edge comes back in May 04. Cena's May 04. So he's feuding. He's US champ. So he's probably still running it back with like Big Show,
right?
And the likes on SmackDown.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the Carlito thing's coming up in a couple months for Cena. So yeah, that's the time we're getting to.
Right. And so Edge, though, he misses all this like important time. WrestleMania 20 is a much different card with Edge around. The Royal Rumble that year. It's tough to say, because if you look back at like the previous Royal Rumbles, like Edge was like in the hunt, Final Four in the was he like final
05?
He was Final Four in the 05. Yes, I know that. But wasn't he also like a late goer in like the Brock Rumble in 03?
He's in there for a while in the Brock one, yeah. And I think they kind of get rid of him so that him and Brock don't really have to battle
intermingle
over the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Brock doesn't come in until 29 in that Rumble.
Yeah.
And if I remember, Edge has like a really early number. I think he comes in like 5.
Yeah, Edge is in there for a long time that year.
Yeah.
Both Edge and Mysterio.
Right. Because that's what I remember. I remember that being like a big thing where the two of them kind of like hung out together and worked it out. But Edge comes back from neck injury, and Edge might be the people talk a lot about leg injuries and Triple H and coming back looking swole. By the way, shout out to Bobo Will Hobbs. That's gonna be sick. Can't wait. But Edge is a chicken and rice good place Hall of Famer. When my man comes back from neck injury, he's got wings. He is latted out. He is just yoked.
He's pretty yoked when he comes back. And when he comes back, so he's coming back off a neck injury. And then he has a toe injury. Then he has a foot injury. And then he also has this wrist injury where like he breaks his wrist or he breaks his forearm or something like that. And that one he tries to work through.
And that's all between his return in June and January.
Even like June to like September.
Right. But I know he had lingering effects up until like the Rumble.
Yeah, it really took up until like Taboo Tuesday or Cyber Sunday that year, like October.
Right.
Where he's finally he's finally back in it. And that's where they really commit to the heel turn.
Well, that's where they start to sprinkle the heel turn in. Because
that year at SummerSlam in 2004, he gets booed in Toronto.
Who is he
He's
working?
In a triple threat match. It's him, it's Jericho, and is it Batista?
I think that's right.
There's a third in that match.
I think that's right. I
want to say it's Batista. But yeah, and Edge is the one who gets booed in the match. And he's gone on record saying that was like a big wake-up call to him, that like the version of character he came back of, which was kind of picking up where he left off in 2002 and 2003, was not going to cut it anymore. The fans were actively rejecting it.
Right. Because
in his hometown.
But also too, like you have to take into account too. There's a stark difference between him leaving, getting hurt, and coming back. That Edge character would have worked on SmackDown, but when he comes back, he's put on Raw.
Right.
Which is a missed opportunity. And he's immediately brought in and he's put in the Intercontinental title scene against Randy Orton.
Yeah, which those guys have a fantastic match, but Orton is he is passing him because Orton's going to be world champion, the month after he drops the Intercontinental title off to Edge.
Right.
And Edge is having to like regroup and refine himself as Intercontinental champion again.
Right, because Edge, on the same card that Orton wins the World Heavyweight title against Stevie Richards, he's defending the Intercontinental title in that triple threat match against Batista and Chris Jericho.
Okay.
And Edge holds that title until Shelton Benjamin, right? No.
I think Edge has to relinquish it. He gets hurt.
That's right, because Jericho ends up being the champion at that Cyber Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's an Unforgiven.
Yeah.
At Unforgiven, I want to say it's Jericho and Christian in a ladder match.
That makes sense.
Edge is out. So
I'm trying to remember and take a look.
That is how you get to Shelton winning the Intercontinental title.
Right. But so Edge starts to get the wheels spinning on this heel turn at Cyber Sunday or Taboo Tuesday in 2004, because it's him, Chris Benoit, and Shawn Michaels put up against each other in the poll. And the way that these polls worked was that the winner of the poll would get a shot at the World Heavyweight Champion in the main event that night.
Mm-hmm.
but the two losers would be put together in a makeshift tag team and would get the chance to challenge for the tag team titles on that card.
Right.
And of course, Edge loses the popular vote with Chris Benoit. I think they take on Caden Murdoch, or is it La Resistance?
They take on La Resistance that year, and then
Right.
Edge ends up walking out, and Benoit 2v1s it and wins it.
Right. I'm going through the Edge vacates the title due to a groin injury. Jericho wins it in a ladder match at Unforgiven, and then Shelton wins it at Taboo Tuesday. But so that's where the heel turn for Edge starts. But we really don't see who Edge is as a heel until Royal Rumble 05.
Yeah, so they take 2005 really to start warming him up, and let him kind of run as a heel. He has, can't believe I'm going to say this, a great program with Shawn Michaels. It really cements him as a heel.
That Royal Rumble card is also the first time Edge ever uses Metalingus as a theme.
Correct.
So we start to get the form of the rated R superstar during this time. He's still not rated R until Lita, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's putting the pieces together, and you can actually see it. And like, maybe this is where, like, I think it just depends on like how much you were invested with the product at the time with Edge, because to me, Edge is, if this was the Book of Deuteronomy, Bret Hart and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels begat Edge.
Yes.
And by that, Edge is somebody who I got to see start out as a lower card wrestler, then be put together in a tag team, and then in a trio, and figure it out, and then move on as a tag team, and then go on to greatness as a tag team wrestler, and then as a singles wrestler, take the steps, and you see the progression. And he is a great mid-card and upper mid-card wrestler. And then you see him, okay, we're like pushing up against that main event ceiling in 2002, 2003. You can see where they're going to go with him. You want to be along for the ride. The neck injury happens, so it puts a halt on all of that. And then he comes back, and you're just like sputtering out of the gate. Like, you can't really get going. And then they take this 2005 to really commit to, okay, let's see what you got. Let's see your version of this character. Let's see your vision of this through. And let's give you an honest shot this year. Let's not mess with your booking. And let's treat you like you're going to be a top guy here. And let's make the investment. And then when it's time to pull the trigger or not, we'll see what you got. But they took the whole year to build up a guy who had been pushing up against that main event scene for so long. And that's what I really like about Edge.
Right. And I think where people like DJ and others are that they put Edge in this pocket, because Edge is definitely a lesser form of Sting in a certain degree. Except Sting is more superstar than Edge is, and Sting is more work rate than Edge is. But in the WWE system, we hadn't really had anyone like that, right? Where they're like, they can put on really good matches at the drop of a hat, especially when Edge was like young and healthy and just going crazy. Like, Edge could do that, but he still also had that like star appeal of like not just being another wrestler. Like, he stood out. And because he was neither, or because he was a little bit of both, he was neither. So you couldn't necessarily say, oh, he's a main event superstar, because he wasn't really there. But you also couldn't say he was good match guy.
Mm.
because he's not. He's just enough like WWE superstar to get you through. But it does say a lot for not to give any flowers to Vince McMahon ever. But it is kind of cool to see that even though Edge was gone with the neck injury, and knowing the trajectory he was on at the time when he got hurt the first time, and then the subsequent injuries thereafter, after coming back, there is a long list of broken toys at the bottom of the toy box that follow that exact same trajectory as Edge. But Edge is the brass ring.
Yeah.
Like, he is the only one of everybody who is like, Mr. Kennedy is the closest we ever got, except he was never a good match guy. But he was the chosen one until he got hurt, and all they needed to see was him to kind of get hurt, and they just took it all away.
Yeah, usually those guys who get hurt but get multiple chances, there's usually a political reason for it. Like Orton's a guy who got hurt all the time up until he stopped getting hurt. Ooh. Sounds of freedom. Up until he stopped getting hurt all the time. It happened because, well, he's getting chance after chance because he's Cowboy Bob's kid.
Right.
And we're not going to do him like that.
But also even farther than that, like, yes, he was Cowboy Bob's kid, but he was Hunter's kid. And he was Rick's kid.
Right.
Like,
so he had all the young boy.
He was the young boy from Evolution.
Right.
And so,
it's not to say Edge didn't have people who liked him, because it's definitely out
Michael
there.
P.S. Hayes for sure.
Michael P.S. Hayes and Brian Gerwitz was a big fan of Edge. So like he definitely had people in his corner. Yeah. So he had people in his corner.
Right.
But
Jim
again,
Ross
he's
too.
not. Yeah. He was never.
Ross at this time. Ross still had some pull in 03. Like,
yeah.
Because they had just. When was Jim Ross? When did he lose his spot in talent relations?
I want to say Johnny Ace takes over in 06.
Okay, so Jim Ross is still a huge proponent of Edge all during this time. But yeah, and it's like, so all this conversation, and we're building up to like the Rated R Superstar. Can you point to a singular point in the sky in which Edge hit the point of no return and was like, okay, now he's a main event guy and there's no going backwards for him?
I think it's the execution of the Money in the Bank cash-in at New Year's Revolution 2006. Now, you could go a little bit up in the timeline, and you could go to the Foley match at WrestleMania 22.
That's where mine is.
So I think that's the match, if that's what you're looking for, and the build. But I think the moment, which WWE loves, I think it's the cash-in. Because we'd never seen it before. We didn't know what it was going to look like. It had never been done before. And you got John Cena as Superman as your world champion. And the way that Edge was able to do it, it is still to this day the blueprint of Money in the Bank cash-ins. And it's, oh my gosh. It's almost 20 years.
22 years ago?
It's almost 20 years. That is insane. 18 years. It's been 18 years. But that's still the blueprint because it works, and it's the formula because it works. Not to say it's, good or bad or tired, but it still does work when you're there live. We were there for WrestleMania this year where they pulled it off.
I was the biggest Damian Priest fan there ever was at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Apparently there's video evidence of it that I made Marcus take. I don't recall turning to him and going, "Hey, send this to DJ, idiot." Um, but see, here's why I don't think it's the Money in the Bank cash in though, because all the equity they had put in the Money in the Bank and how big of a deal they made Money in the Bank, they gave it all away at the Royal Rumble. Like, Edge was champion for 20 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just loses it right back to Cena. And he doesn't win it back until after One Night Stand? Because he beats Rob Van Dam? Because Rob Van Dam got caught doing drugs as ECW and WWE champion?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. And then he loses it back again at Unforgiven 06 in the ladder match in Canada. So, like, even when Edge is champion after being crowned, it's really not until WrestleMania 22 where he, like, really caps it.
Yeah, but I also think the cash in, I think that 3 weeks of television or so with Edge as champion, you saw how the audience responded. And it was more than just like, we need a break from Cena, which is what I think they just thought it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was you saw Edge actually as the main character of the show.
23,
which is a very
not
big
22.
Thing in WWE. It's like, okay,
Or no, it is 22.
He's a dude. And to me, it's not so much that Edge has to be a main eventer, but I think Edge is in the same line of guys, kind of the SmackDown 6, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. When you have those guys in your upper mid card, or you can float them over to your tag team scene,
right?
Your roster is in a really, really good spot. But when you need to rely on those guys to carry the torch for more than, a couple months here or there, then I think that's when you're like, okay, we need to figure something out. And you see the depth really take a hit.
And if you go back and this kind of like probably like the cherry on top of everything talking about Edge. You go back and you look at the SmackDown 6, right? And from 2002. After SmackDown 6, Benoit becomes world champion. Eddie Guerrero becomes world champion.
And real quick, Eddie probably becomes world champion because I probably should have been Edge's spot.
Right. Leading into WrestleMania 20.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have done Edge and Kurt. I still like Eddie and Kurt in that match. Like I love that match at 20. But anyway, Benoit becomes world champion. Eddie Guerrero becomes world champion. Rey Mysterio becomes world champion. Edge is world champion. Chavo turns into a white person. And Perk Angle is born. Like, 5 out of 6, that's not bad.
Not at all.
Like, and even after the SmackDown 6, Kurt still goes on to have really great matches and has still a nice little baby run in between, like, multiple neck injuries between 04 and his leave of absence. Or 03 in his leave of absence, when he asks for his release instead of going to rehab to then sign with TNA 7 days later.
TNA Wrestling.
Yeah. So good. But yeah, very hearty discussion about Edge. We'll talk about SmackDown stuff all day long. But you know who else is a mainstay of SmackDown?
Who?
Marcus, it's finally time.
And now, Tim Taylor presents The Undertaking.
So we also get a double helping of The Undertaker this week.
Help us.
On The Undertaking. I'm going to do the low-hanging fruit stuff first. From his latest episode of 6 Feet Under, but with Mark Calloway, where they discuss a myriad of topics, including how The Undertaker gave away where WrestleMania 41 was going to be like 2 or 3 weeks before it actually happened. Because he said on the podcast, I hear it's going to be in Vegas. And they talk about Giant Gonzalez a lot. And the only thing I want to do less than watch a Giant Gonzalez match with The Undertaker is hear The Undertaker talk about his matches with Giant Gonzalez. Don't want to do that. But this is, they actually make a really good, Undertaker makes a really good point, which is weird. He talks about the roast of Tom Brady.
Oh, boy.
And how there should be a, maybe not a reimagining of the WWE Hall of Fame, but what if during WrestleMania weekend, WWE did a roast of a Hall of Famer? To which his co-host immediately said, you know what would be really cool is the roast of The Undertaker. To which Mark backpedals and like, oh, no, this was my idea. I don't get to be put in it. And so Mark has 3 people who he'd like to put in front of himself as being roasted. He wants to put Stephanie McMahon before himself.
Oh, boy.
He wants to put Ric Flair before himself, which 2 problems there. They addressed one of the problems on the show, that Rick's with the other team. The second issue is they already did the roast of Ric Flair through Conrad Thompson. Can't do that again. But he brings up Bad Terry.
Oh, boy.
Do you think that a regular wrestling roast is a good idea?
No, it is an awful idea. Here's why it's an awful idea. Wrestling will never be able to get the necessary comedians in to properly do a roast. Nobody wants to hear jokes from people they don't know. Nobody's watching that. That's why the roast of Ric Flair wasn't. I never saw anything from it. I like comedy. I don't know any of those guys. I'm not watching that. So that's reason number 1 why it's never going to happen. Sorry, you think Nikki Glazer's coming in to roast Mark from Texas? That's not happening. Get out of here.
She might be there for Bad Terry.
You think Jeff Ross is coming in to roast? So no, that's not happening. So that's reason number 1 why it should never happen. Aside from all the rest of the reasons that wrestlers are like some of the most gotten to people on the planet. Awful idea. Terrible idea.
I think so. They made a valid point though, that if you do a roast, right, you have to do somebody who is very well respected in the locker room. Somebody who everybody, nobody has anything negative to say about. They're just maybe because nobody says anything bad about them, that makes them less gotten to.
I'm gonna say the third reason why it will never work.
Go for it.
The third reason why it will never work is because with athletes, with celebrities, they have a public-facing persona, and the details of their personal life are usually public and very known. If you do a roast of a wrestler, you are still playing to less than 3% of your audience. Because the dudes that were peeing next to me at WrestleMania, they had no clue about TNA. They definitely don't have a clue about Undertaker working in his 3 wives into different periods of his career in wrestling. They don't care to hear about those jokes. They don't know those people. They don't know those details, and it's not going to get a pop from them. It's just going to be a lot of confusion. So I think that a roast of a wrestler is playing to too small of a portion of an audience. And that's another reason why it will never work.
Right. Mark just felt he looked so like pleased with himself. Like he had found a gold nugget. Like, oh man, roast Tom Brady was cool. What if they did wrestling roasts? Oh, that'd be cool.
Horrible idea.
But what's even worse than the roast of wrestlers is Mark from Texas appearing as a guest on Busted Open Radio this past week.
With your favorite.
With my favorite, Dave LaGreca, Bully Ray, and Mark Henry. Marcus, when I say I have notes on this appearance, I have notes.
Let's run it.
So Mark talks about doing the podcast. He claims to be doing the podcast under duress, and that he's not even sure he wants to be doing a podcast, even though now he thinks he's in the deep water. But he is trying to find his passion now that the wrestling part of his life is in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But he does love talking about his interactions with the boys and the nights they had and the places that they were. But they also mentioned something that I don't think I ever had public knowledge of. Go ahead. You already have questions. We already have questions. Yes, Your Honor.
So for no exact reason, I find myself enthralled with the financial health and well-being of The Undertaker. So when he says that he's doing a podcast under duress, I feel like this is more ammo for the narrative that the Undertaker is cash poor. Is the Undertaker broke?
Maybe. Apparently, the Undertaker almost had a WWE podcast. I don't know.
All those have gone well.
Apparently they couldn't get a deal worked out, but the original Undertaker podcast would have been called the Dead Man Inc. Show. And it was supposed to be, that's horrible. But it was even more horrible when you find out that the person who was going to be the talking head with the Undertaker was going to be Busted Open's Dave LaGreca.
Oh, that sounds so awful.
It was going to be Dave LaGreca and the Undertaker. And the reason it came up is because Dave LaGreca stole one of the coffee mugs from WWE Studios that had the Dead Man Inc. Show logo on it. So it's like the singular only relic from this failed experiment. And it's the first time Undertaker had even talked about it. And Dave LaGreca too. He talks up WrestleMania, and according to Undertaker, apparently his run-in at WrestleMania didn't get finalized until Sunday.
Well, yeah, because they had that jet ready to go get the Texas Rattlesnake and bring him in.
Well, they called him during the Hall of Fame.
I did see this clip.
Paul called him. He didn't answer the phone. Then somebody told him that Paul called him and that Undertaker should call Paul. And he's like, I'll call him later. Never calls. But it was like a 20-minute meeting on Sunday, and he's there. But it is kind of funny. They talked about compensation for his appearance at WrestleMania. And the quote was, "I didn't need to hold anybody up over money."
Because he'll take the first offer you give him because he's cash poor?
Or the fact that he's taking a jab at Stone Cold Steve Austin because it was supposed to be Austin's spot and Austin couldn't get a deal worked out because the money wasn't right. Could be. Possibly. About you. Undertaker talks about leaving the dead man character buried. But ask everybody in Saudi Arabia that. Dead man comes out whenever the Saudi prince calls. He did compare today to the Attitude Era. He says the current day storytelling is lacking, but is getting better. But he said that the atmosphere and the business is very close to where the Attitude Era was.
Okay.
And he says that right now, this is, quote, as close it'll ever get to the Attitude Era.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, Kobe Bryant. Because, like, I feel like you and I could do a lean 30 minutes on the overinflation of the Attitude Era.
Probably, right? Probably.
Easily. They ask if Undertaker refers to himself as or thinks of himself as a professional wrestler or a sports entertainer. To which,
that's a
of
good
course,
question, actually.
Yes, and he thinks that he's a professional wrestler.
Okay.
And he says that the phrase sports entertainer is confusing.
Oh no. Don't confuse him.
He says it's confusing. Professional wrestler, when you say professional wrestler, people know what that means. When you say sports entertainer, what does that mean? I don't know. But they wrap up the entire thing with a hilarious story, or not a hilarious story, but it's Mark Henry's favorite story of The Undertaker.
All right.
So they're at the Pittsburgh airport, and The Undertaker is sitting next to Bully Ray in the terminal. And this guy walks up to him with a binder full of pictures.
Okay.
And he's like, "Hey, man, will you sign this picture?" And Undertaker goes, "Absolutely not. I'm not signing your picture."
Mm-hmm.
So the guy walks away, and where Taker's sitting at the terminal, he can still see the guy like another boarding lane down. And the guy is like crouched down in front of this little girl. And he's like coaching her up, hands her a picture, and then sends her back to talk to The Undertaker. Well, the girl didn't know at first who she was talking to. And she walks up to Bully Ray. And she goes, "Mr. Undertaker, I'm a huge fan. Would you sign this for me?" And Undertaker just turns around and goes, "I'm The Undertaker." The girl walks over, and Undertaker she's like, "Will you sign this for me?" He says, "Sure, little girl, I'd love to." He takes a Sharpie and he signs it. And then he goes, "All right, now give me your hand." So the little girl lays out her hand, and he takes the picture and he turns it upside down and puts it in the girl's hand. And then he tells the girl to put her hand on top of the picture like this. So she can't, it's like, don't peek. Don't look at it until you go back, okay? Well, hold it just like that. And apparently, Undertaker tells the guy to fuck off on the picture. Because he knew it was from the guy. So he just basically cusses out the man fan. And like, Taker's like sitting watching. The girl walks over, and the guy's like, he's doing like a victory lap in his head. I was just like, "Oh man, I got the Undertaker to sign it." And then he looks at what he signed, and then he just immediately is like dejected and just like, "Oh, didn't get it." But that's the undertaking for this week.
Good trick.
Good trick, fun. Why am I still doing this? I don't know.
You committed.
I'm committed to the bit. Speaking of the bit, no precaps this week. We didn't get anything in the mail. But there's two papes this week. There's a Saudi show on Friday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
King and Queen of the
I
Ring
didn't know
is this
that was
week.
coming up. Okay.
Yeah, I believe King and Queen of the Ring.
That'd be Saturday, right? Because they got to have the finals on. They're having Smackdown over there, right?
Oh, yeah, they are. That's right. Okay. Yeah, King and Queen of the Ring is the 25th. Yep. So Saturday. And then AEW Double or Nothing on Sunday.
Okay.
Which will be fun. So no precaps for that, but I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about. Did anything rock for you this week?
What rocked for me this week?
Because I can go first, and it might
you can
take
go first.
What rocks.
Okay, go first.
It's finally here. After years of waiting, we got the first trailer for a video game.
Oh my gosh.
For forever. EA College Football 25, baby. It's here. It's coming in July. And me and Marcus and Brett are already poor.
If you are a person of a certain age, between 25 and 40, it's time to mount up.
Hey, boys, if you ain't got it, take a picture of your Venmo and put it on in social media. Get your football monies now. Find a way to rob Peter to pay Paul and get your monies, okay? Because there's a bundle for college football and Madden that you can get. I don't care how much money it is, but I'm sure you can find the money. Pick up your couch cushions. Whatever you got to
like
do.
140.
Is it 140?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. I'll look on the PlayStation Store right now. But yeah, man.
Get it right now.
Get it right now. Yeah, you can get the bundle for Shundle right now. Yeah.
Yeah, man, the trailer looked amazing. I can't wait to build up my program and leave for a better head coaching job. Can't wait. I'm curious about the recruiting process, what that looks like on the game. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good time. And then, as you mentioned, they're going to have the game out so you can get a full class in from your program and get it transferred over to Madden, which will be out, 6 weeks later or whatever.
Okay.
So it's going to be a great time.
So right now you've got 3 options. So you can get the standard edition for 70, the deluxe edition for 100, and then the MVP edition, which gives you Madden 25. Okay, first of all, Madden NFL 25, which not to be confused with Madden 25.
Correct.
That we got 10 years ago.
Yes.
So deluxe edition of Madden NFL 25 and college football 25, both deluxe editions for $150.
Okay.
I think I'm going to have to do the bundle.
I'm going to have to do the bundle, even though it's probably cheaper if I don't get the deluxe editions of either, which I normally wouldn't if I was going to buy them separately. But if you tell me I can bundle them and get the deluxe, boy math, it works out.
Well, so here's the thing. You see the bundle's $150. If you bought the standard versions of both games, that's $140.
Okay, yeah, boy math. The bundle works.
Boy math, you're saving $30. Put that $30 you saved on the horses, and then when the ponies run again, you can make back your your football money. You can do it. It's fine. So yeah. So aside from that, did anything rock for you this week?
Or
is that it?
Hold on. I had what rocked for me. Yes, what rocked for me. Can't let an episode go by without talking about him. Randy Orton.
Uh-huh.
Not just the match, but the post-match promo, which was all of 30 seconds. The Bloodline comes out, and it looks like they're going to try to intimidate the apex predator of WWE. And Orton grabs the mic, and with WWE, you never know. Most everything is rehearsed to death. But he gave such a believable promo to build to the match next week, to get to the Bloodline. It was just such a good, believable promo. Not saying it was great, not saying that it was hard times or anything like that. It was just a believable promo that showed more fire out of Randy Orton, who is in year 22 than we have been previously allowed to see come out of him. And I'm really enjoying Randy Orton, the professional wrestler, under the Paul Triple H Levesque era.
Mm-hmm.
Levesque.
The Logan Paul Levesque era.
There we go.
As they like to say. Yeah, man, I think that was cool. There was a lot of slobber. That's my only gripe. Bad place on a lot of slobber from that Randy Orton promo. Just he was like Boss Nass, and just just the jowls were flopping, spit was spewing.
When you have to do a post-match promo, you are so, I wouldn't say blown up, but you obviously just got done wrestling. So
Right.
Your heart rate, everything's pumping, everything's accelerated. But also what people forget is vocalizing during the match takes a lot out of your actual voice. So when you have to do a post-match promo, you have to like over deliver on it and bring the energy, because usually your voice has nothing left after a match.
Gotcha. That's fair. I just thought it was like the only thing I
It was
could think
pretty
of.
dope, right? It's like venom flying out of his mouth.
It was just like slobber germs everywhere. My man was just getting it.
RKO to Kim.
Yeah, man. Hey, anything. Aside from that, is there anything you need to plug?
June 1st, Mr. Pig's gonna be down for Flying V in Silver Spring, Maryland. Mr. Pig, part of maybe a technical wrestling tournament or something.
Do they know who they signed
Doesn't
up?
sound like him, but people don't remember that Mr. Pig spent many a sweaty hour drilling in stupid wrestling holds into his memory that he had absolutely no use or desire to use. So there is a wealth of knowledge, and Mr. Pig might surprise a couple people with a couple little fancy holds. Or he's just going to give up and big boot and powerbomb everybody.
I hope that Mr. Pig becomes the Kevin Nash of technical wrestling. Just like he was in the X division. Like, I'm the greatest high flyer there ever was. Club. Big boot. And just like get somebody in like a wrist lock and then just club them.
Let's get to the business.
Let's get to the business.
But yeah, that's it. That's it for plugs.
Cool. Soon to be named network.tumblr.com, at STBN Network on Twitter. That's the home for the soon to be named network, which we are proud members of. Check out us and all the other shows on the network, including but not limited to our wrestling offerings of At Odds with Wrestling with Joe and Adam, and We Need Wrestling with DJ and Brett. So much good quality content there, including Wings on Wings and Long Box Heroes and Long Box Heroes After Dark and Porch Talk, and just all the fun you can enjoy over on the soon to be named network. For your pleasure all week long. We just don't stop churning out the content. If there's a day on the calendar, we got a podcast for you. If you want to follow us on social media, you absolutely can. At Not the Tool Man for me, the Wrestling Speakeasy for Marcus. If you know, you know. At T&M Shows on Twitter. For this podcast and for other stuff we'll do. Viewer's choice might be going to new hands. But I don't think that means anything less from us. It just kind of gives us an avenue to maybe do more together, outside of having to cover that. But whatever viewer's choice ends up becoming, if it stays viewer's choice or it turns into something else, it'd really be cool if they came up with a different name and we got to keep viewer's choice and we actually get to do something different with it. But who knows? But to check everything out that we do there on social media, need to post more. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Podcast is everywhere. It's wherever you get your podcasts, we put it there. Next week, we're going field tripping, and we're going back into that time period. An episode of Monday Night Raw in which John Cena and Randy Orton face the entire Raw locker room. That's going to be good fun. Plus so much more to talk about. We'll recap Double or Nothing. Hopefully we'll get a chance to watch it together. Does that look a go for you?
Looking promising.
We'll discuss more, pal. But until next week, you guys have a fantastic week ahead of you. By the way, shout out to those who hit me up over the week about the podcast in private. I'm not going to put our business out in the street, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for staying on my buns about going to the gym. It's a fun thing. I appreciate you guys. Love you. Kisses. Mwah. But right now, Marcus, all that's left is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.